Good afternoon.
It is.
In the Chicago, Illinois workshop 325 of this year, a questioner who had high blood pressure was asking Abraham about whether or not he should take his medication for high blood pressure, and had come to the conclusion that he wasn't going to take his medicine. And then Abraham said, well, there's a reason that we encourage you to ponder it, meaning that decision, and play with it for 2 or 3 days, because as we feel the vibration within you, the vibration within you is not a vibrational match to those words.
Yes.
As we sniff out your vibration, we can feel that there is more fear about not taking it than there is not benefit by taking it. So my question is, how does Abraham know this? Okay? And what abilities or faculties does he or his group draw on to assess vibrational match in another person? And also, how come this person is temporarily unable to do this for him or herself?
Well, what you're talking about here is the reading of vibration. We've talked about that a little bit earlier today, that everything is vibrational, and you are interpreting vibration. And as you learn to pay attention to the way you feel, you become an even better reader of vibration. Have you ever had the experience where somebody is telling you something, and they really want you to believe what they're telling you, but you know while they're telling you that what they're telling you is not the way that it is? And you say, well, how do I know that? And you say, well, it's my gut feeling, or it's my intuition, or sometimes you say, well, it's just because I know them. But what's happening is you're reading their vibration and recognizing that there is not a match between what they're saying and what they are actually offering vibrationally. And this is not an unusual thing. It happens to all of you all of the time, because many of you come to rely upon your words. You keep thinking that words make it so. That's why so often you shout no at something, not understanding that no doesn't mean no. It means, yes, come to me, this thing I do not want. And so what we were talking about with this one is, he said, I don't want to take it anymore. I'm not going to take it anymore. It's a hindrance. It's a lot of trouble. It costs a lot of money. It is representation that I'm not the deliberate creator that I really want to be. I'm not going to take it anymore. But we could feel within his vibration, while he really wanted to get to the place where he would not take it anymore, that the idea of not taking it anymore left his vibration more unsettled than if he were taking it. You see, it is not so important the action that you offer if the action is an encouragement to the alignment of energy. And so your question to us is, how are we able to read the energy? And we say,
well, that's sort of a preface. I think the more important issue is, how can a person tell for themselves if they really are a match to what they're saying?
By paying attention to the way you feel. Because when you say something that is a match to what you want, it feels great while you're saying it. And when you want something and you are offering a vibration that is different, you feel discord. In other words, the better you feel, the more alignment there is. The worse you feel, the more misalignment or resistance there is. So that's why we encourage you to meditate, because sometimes our friends will say, I'm not really sure what I'm feeling. The way I'm feeling is so normal. I'm so accustomed to feeling this way, I'm not really sure what I'm feeling. And we say, meditation is a good tool to begin with, because when you meditate, you stop thought, you quiet your mind. And when you quiet your mind, there's no thought. So there can be no resistant or contradictory thought. And when there's no resistant thought, your vibration raises. And when you are meditating rather than sleeping, now you have a conscious awareness of what it feels like to be in a state of non-resistance. So the next thought that you choose that is more of a state of resistance, you notice it. It's like sensitizing your fingertips a little more. You would not go to the doctor and say, oh, my fingers are so sensitive. When I touch hot things or sharp things, it's painful. Please put Novocaine in them so that I can touch hot things and sharp things, because you wouldn't want to do that to your fingers. It can be very bad for them to lay around on stoves and things. And so the same thing is with your emotions. You're wanting to sensitize yourself so that you feel the emotions at the earlier subtle stages, so that you can recognize a misalignment of energy more quickly. Emotions are so important, because your emotions tell you everything that you're wanting to know relative to your energy stream. And you see, there's no right or wrong. In other words, if you say, well, is the right answer take the medicine, or is the right answer don't take the medicine, we say the medicine isn't even part of the answer. The right answer is do anything that you need to do right now to feel ease, to feel good. So if taking the medicine feels better than not taking the medicine, then taking the medicine for now is the best choice.
Well, for anyone who's ever fallen in and out of love, it can feel wonderful at the time, and you think that, you know, this person's the one, or this is the right way to go, but then that will change. So are you saying that...
But think about what you're saying there. Let's keep it in the clear perspective of what we're talking about here. That feeling of being in love is me focused upon someone while I am in the state of pure connection to source energy. It's my appreciation of this person that's got me hooked up in this way. And probably their appreciation of me that's got them hooked up in this way. And we could stay in love if we could hold ourselves in that place of appreciation. You see? So it's not the action, it's the state of alignment.
Yeah, well, I guess I appreciate everything you're saying. And for people that are maybe looking for more of a technique, are there any hints for not to fool ourselves? I mean, because sometimes we think, oh, yes, you know, I'm feeling this and this feels good, but maybe there's something that feels better.
What Esther said one day, Abraham, what about having a week-long workshop like at a Silmar, where all kinds of people come and we chew for a longer period of time until we all get tuned in, tapped in, turned on. And we can talk about all kinds of things. We can set up role-playing and... what do you think? And we said, well, we think it would be a wonderful idea. It sounds just like life on planet Earth. And what we mean by that is, it is through your exposure to life that you find the correlation. For example, the other day, Jerry and Esther were at a campground in San Diego. And almost as soon as they got there, they realized that there was a family of about 50 people who were in several sites next to them, and they were having a big family reunion. And then a ball game began, and a football kept hitting the side of their motorhome or hitting their car. They were not really good at catching the football. And Jerry and Esther became a little uncomfortable because they have this beautiful new motorhome and the ball is bouncing off of it. And neither one of them said anything because it looked like a relatively soft and harmless ball. But then the game turned into a softball game. And now they have a pretty hard ball and a bat, and now that didn't hit them, but it is bouncing over them and under them, and now they began to feel uncomfortable. So I'll give you the short version of this. For 3 days they sat tensed and uncomfortable as they worked, and the sports equipment was pummeling their motorhome. They called the ranger. He would come and stop the game. The ranger would leave and the game would start again. And Jerry and Esther did not really have their energy lined up because part of them wanted them to play the game. In other words, they did not want to stop the game. They just wanted to stop the pelting, you see. And so finally it was time to go to the hotel, so they just closed up the motorhome and wished for the best and didn't do much about lining up their energy. They just went off into their world to do their work and stayed in the hotel for 2 nights. In part, the second night to avoid what might be going on at the campground. And when they went to take their car out of the parking place at the hotel, someone who had parked next to them had scraped their car going into the parking place. And there was a big red streak on the side of the car. And as Jerry and Esther saw it, both of them looked at each other, and they knew precisely how that had come, because they recognized the correlation between how they'd been feeling and what happened. In other words, it is always a match. What I'm thinking and feeling and what I'm getting is always a vibrational match. So the answer to your question is, you can come to a workshop like this and you can try to gather some tricks as you are doing here in offering vibration that causes different manifestation, and that's a good thing. You can also watch the manifestation in order to notice the correlation between the manifestations and how you've been feeling. Now, this red paint buffed right off. If you did not know where it had happened, you would not even know that something had happened to their car. They're aware of a very, very slight crease in the car. It was proportionate to the vibration that was within them. In other words, no great damage came, certainly no harm to either one of them. It was a perfect vibrational match to the way that they were feeling. And we have noticed that when those kinds of things happen, there is a greater determination or a greater deciding thing that happens within you that says, I'm going to line up my energy a little better. I'm going to learn to relax and chill out a little more. I'm going to find a different feeling place. That's what it all comes down to. So many would say, so you're saying that they should sit there in their motorhome, being pelted by balls of all sizes, and like it? And we say, no, we're saying that they must do everything that they can do to reach for the thought that feels better. So as they're sitting there and they are enjoying the exuberance of these young people, that's a vibrational match to well-being. As they are feeling discomfort in their disregard for their beautiful motorhome, that's not a vibrational match to well-being. In other words, it is through trial and error. You have to work your way into it, and you can tell by the number of things that hit you how well you're doing. See, in lots of different ways. That's what life is all about. You never get it done, and you cannot get it wrong. So you take a pelleting, and then you say, new game plan. And so next time you come around to that thought, you reach for the thought that feels better. So now after the fact, they can go back and rework all of that in their mind. They can reclaim that strong feeling of vulnerability and that strong feeling of uneasiness as they sat crouched, peeking out of the window, hoping that the next thing wouldn't hit them. Or they can reach for a softer feeling about how the ball game went on. Almost nothing hit them really in the context of the whole thing. What nice people they really were. What an overall good experience the whole experience was. How their motorhome survived all of that without any trouble whatsoever. How the people that they were so worried were going to damage them had nothing to do with the damage that came. That the damage that came in response to their vibration, not in response to the ball game. In other words, as they traipse back through it again and again and rework it, each time bringing it into a better and better feeling place, until they've left their energy in a whole different place relative to that. Esther remembered one day driving with a friend in the most beautiful car she had ever been in. And the friend drove into an underground parking garage and parked this great big beautiful car in a very small space. So small that they all had trouble getting out of it. And as Esther looked back, her thought was, I wonder if this beautiful car will be all right here. And her friend saw Esther's gaze of concern and said to Esther, don't worry about it. Everyone loves my car as much as I do, and everyone treats it with as much respect as I do. And so, as Esther is now coming away with a little scrape on her car, contrast, giving a rocket of desire, it took her 2 or 3 days to come round to that memory. But then she remembered her friend saying that, and she felt the ease and delicious feeling of that. And so, all of this, Esther's chewed on it, she's reworked it, she's in a whole different place about it, and she will never go back to that pommeling. Just little by little, trial and error, having fun every step along the way, understanding you never get it done, and you can't get it wrong because it doesn't matter where you find yourself standing. In other words, it does not matter what has happened, because now you're standing in a whole new place and you have the option of offering a whole different vibration, and the universe is responding to your vibration. So the thing that gets some of you stuck is that you think, well, I have no choice but to respond to reality. And we say, oh, that's where the dilemma is. You have infinite choices in the way you respond to your reality. And when you begin doing it from the perspective that nothing is more important than I feel good, I'm reaching for the thought that feels best, now you are truly practicing the art of allowing. Unconditional love. No matter what, I'm finding a thought that lets the love flow through me. Yes. Did we get there for you?
Yeah.